So, how's it going, everybody? Name's Eric Callahan, game developer, solo developer and owner of the Jam Games LLC, that's the name of my company, and I'm here to present to you today how to make a game from the perspective of an unsuccessful game developer. Alright, so, links, ignore that. Actually, I'll have to open these later. But anyway, my story. Who am I? So, I grew up a gamer, still a gamer. My passion is single player games, always have been, play those a lot. I play multiplayer games like occasionally, but mostly a single player guy. And, after I graduated high school, didn't really know what to do with my life, so I went to EMU off a parent's suggestion. They're like, oh, you should go to EMU and go into finance, accounting, whatever. I'm like, I don't got any better ideas, sure. But, I always had this idea for a series of games I could make one day. But I didn't think, I'm not actually going to do that. I'll just be a normal person and go to college, So I did do that. Started in accounting, but after a year, I realized, wow, accounting is really boring. I'm going to switch to game dev. And I graduated. I forget what the next slide says. Oh yeah, this is where I am now. So basically, I graduated from Eastern with a game dev degree and couldn't find a job in the field. This was in 2022? Didn't have any actual experience. So I got a regular job. I think for posterity's sake, I won't swear, but let's just say, screw it, I'll do solo development. So what I did was, I found a real job in 2022, and I think this is gonna be in the next slide as well. I worked on a game for a few months, and then I left to do it. Let me just see what the next slide is. Oh yeah, this is my work outfit. This guy over here was talking about, doing web development and shit like that. I'm like, oh man, I wish I could do that. I work at a factory. I do labor work, so, two different kinds of paths for a game developer. But that's where I'm at now, working a ton. I had to call him to work, by the way, because I just felt like calling in. You didn't use my paid vacation time, so that's where I am now. So, this is the part where I talk about the game. So, let me guess. You have a dream game, right? This is where I was like, all right, I'm going to get to work and start working on this dream game because this is what I want to make, right? Here's my line of thinking. The experts say, don't start with your dream game because, you're just doing a disservice to it. It's going to be terrible. But I say, well, you got to learn somehow. Might as well start with the dream game and improve as I go on, right? No, you know nothing, whatever that says. So, cool. Don't make that your first game. So, here's actually what happened. I was working a job, 2022, regular office job. Started development on a demo of the game, which is like, I think I was gonna do 2 or 3 levels or something, while I was working a day job. And then, after 6 months, it was going nowhere because I didn't have any time or really the mental capacity to do it because I was just tired after work and whatnot. And so, normal people jobs are boring. I'm gonna say that out loud, I'm not normal. So, what I did was quit my job and continued working on it. But after 6 months, I gave up on the game again. Actually, not again. I gave up for the first time. It started a new game. Don't do this, all right? I'm in a very lucky position where I lived with my parents. They were able to support me. But if you're on your own, you need money, bro. So don't quit your day job to chase your dreams. You need money first. Make yourself stable. Do not quit your job. Look at me right here. I'm a jobless bum. That's me during one of my YouTube videos that I made. Was I supposed to play a video? I think that's the next one. Play the video, stupid. All right, awesome. So this is why I save.
Yeah, I'm literally doing that, and I wouldn't recommend it either.
Yeah, you know what? That video was on the computer. Shoot. Okay, well, I guess I can't play that video then. I'll edit it into the actual YouTube video. Basically, I have screenshots of it. It looked like this. So basically, the dream game, that don't steal my idea, it's a 3D platformer. It's a fusion of Crash Bandicoot and Mega Man X, where you dash and shoot things and spin things and break things and collect things. And it was really fun. But the foundation was really bad. Here's why it failed. It was really bad. You'll build the entire game off of it. You'll have spaghetti code, right? So your first game, you don't want to do this. And you'll get to a point where you just want to restart the project or do something else, which is what happened to me. So, don't do this, all right? You want to make a dream game, I still want to make one, but you don't want to start with it. You want to start with something different, just something different, something smaller, ideally, nothing too ambitious, right? So, the actual first game, the reason I'm here. So, we saw from the video that I didn't play, that game was a little too ambitious and too much going on for my level of expertise at the time, and probably still now to be honest. So, decided to start over, start something fresh, try to think of something different, right? What's a good first game idea that's a game that I like and that's original, something I can actually sell? Well, I was looking around and I got a bit of a crazy idea. Anyone know what that is? It's a DK Bongo. It's a controller you plugged into your GameCube to play a game that I also don't have footage for, I guess. But basically, you control a 2D platformer character with this kind of controller. And I'm like, wait a minute. No one did this on Steam yet. If I did this, it'll be a hit. I'll be a millionaire, whatever. It'll totally work, man. Yeah, sure, buddy, sure. But basically, this is the crazy idea I had because clearly no one was so stupid enough to make an idea like this actually work. So you know what? What better first game to be than something absolutely absurd like this? So, let's talk about how we actually go about making a game. Now, as a sole developer, you kind of do everything yourself. You do the programming, the animation, the business stuff, right? I'm not talking about all that because then we'd be here forever. So let's just talk about overall, here's what you would do conceptually, generally, and stuff like that, okay? You want to decide what you want first, bare minimums, and make a plan. You know, essentials. This is what the game needs to have in order to be true to its identity, right? Again, I don't know what kind of use you'd have with a bongo controller, so I was like, you know what, they did a 2D platformer the first time, let's just do that again. So I figured, okay, let's do a 2D platformer, so the game needs this kind of element, jumping and attacking and whatnot. The inspiration is Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. You can look it up, you don't want to know what it is, but that game had linear levels, action, scoring, stuff like that, so the game should also have that. And something that I wanted for my own future was real-time cutscenes and bosses. Visuals and audio are kind of a given. I don't know why I wrote that down. But, you know, I want that kind of thing to be in the games I make in the future, so why not practice it now, you know? No reason not to. So those are the essentials. You want to decide what your game wants to have before anything else. And the next thing is where the fun begins, the nice to haves. Not essential, but it could help. Every idea you have for a game, you know, all the cool stuff like, leaderboards, skins, mechanics, this kind of thing, like, you know, all great ideas, but get ready to scrap a lot of things because, let me tell you, I had a lot of ideas for my game that did not make the final cut. So, did I have any other video? Oh, I was gonna show a gameplay video actually, but whatever. Anyway, I'll do that next. So, when you get to this point, you're gonna have a lot of ideas, be ready to scrap a lot of things. And so for this section, I've created a new word. I call it scopium. Scope. So you have all these great ideas and it's gonna make you so successful. You're gonna have all this fame and awards and everything. Not how it works. So let's break it down exactly what this means. So scope creep. Your game has too much, or too little, but usually too much and it loses focus. We see this all the time in the AAA market with bloated games, with collectibles everywhere, and it's very lazy looking, right? You know, that is what happens when you have too much stuff in your game and things go overboard, you know. The best games of all time have perfect scope management. They find something right in the middle, right? Think of your favorite game and how it has mechanics and levels, and the balance is perfect. Not too much, not too little, but just right. That is what scope management is, and scope creep is when things get way out of hand. So that is a skill you need to learn when you're working on your product and you realize, okay, this is too much. I can't get this done, it's not helping the game, time to scrap it, right? And then copium, this is an internet term in case nobody knows, but it means when you believe in something happening despite a non-zero chance of it actually happening. I guess I could give a recent example with the new Star Fox game. Most people were like, oh, maybe we'll get a new one or something. It turns out it's not a remake. I guess that you could call that copium, but that was the most clever joke I could think of. So anyway, the word that I made is scopium. For this specific term, it is believing that more is better and your game will be successful because of it. Sort of like toxic positivity, I guess, but not really. But the point is, more is not better. Focus is king. All right, you want a successful game, you want it to be good, you need focus, you need the perfect amount of scope. So, next one. So this is more about like when you're actually working on your Steam page and stuff, what kind of things you want to set up. So, legal mumbo jumbo. I'm not a legal guy, so this is going to be quick. You want to decide what your brand is going to be, and it depends on what you want. So, how you present yourself on the internet, to other people at conventions, whatever. Who are you, right? Are you one man with no company, or a company with one man? Wow, that is really bad wording, but I'll just go to the next slide. This is the example I came up with. This is my company right here, The Jam, but I'm one guy. There's no one on my team. And then this guy is in the same boat. David Zemansky, I think it was. He made Iron Lung. You probably know what that is. But look right here. There's no company here. It's just his name. So what does that mean? It means you can be both. You can be whatever you want your brand to be. Do you want to be one guy, or do you want to be a company? Because I want to be a company that eventually expands into a team, but right now I'm just one guy. So really, him and I are the same, I guess, but I want to be a company in the future. This guy doesn't, maybe you want to keep things casual, fly solo forever, that's cool. You decide what you want, and then you go about your business doing that with business and legal taxes, which I'm also not an expert for. And then what you need for a company, a registered agent that I think handles your paperwork and makes it official or something.
That could be you.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Well, look at that. Do more research and find out. And then, you can make an LLC, get that tax info on Steamworks. Oh, hey, here's that magic word, Steamworks. You like capsules? So, Steamworks, it's a little annoying, but once you get in, it's not too bad. Little inconvenient, but not bad. So, when you're making a Steam page, there's like a million rules for like the store description, the features, the images and the videos. So look up best practices because I'm not the first person to deal with this. So they'll have guides somewhere. This right here is all the capsules I made. What is this? Library icons, store icons, screenshot folder. And I put the GIMP files in there for the, maybe that doesn't matter, it's the same thing. But, oh yeah, individual ones for the demo too, by the way. Isn't Steam great? So get ready for a lot of stuff you gotta deal with on Steamworks because some things are easy and some things are hard. Well, you got Steam Cloud, that's just directing the cloud to, the location of your save data. And then Steam does the backing up of the saving for you, I think. And then the achievements are a little hard. You have to hard code those into the game. And that's just one example. There's a lot of other things. So, other big thing, 2 reviews, store page and the game build. The store page is usually pretty easy if you follow the rules. Make sure your pictures are in the right dimensions and the content is okay. You don't want to link your social media in the description to have a different thing on the right side for that. And then there's a game build, and you also want to make sure that it sort of falls in line with what you say it is. So this actually just happened to me with my newest game. In the description, I said, oh, it has a soundtrack featuring these composers, but the game had no music, so the build review failed. And they said, oh, it doesn't have music, so you got to resubmit. And I'm like, oh, right. There's some music in the game, and then it passed. So keep an eye on that. Be aware of what you're saying and what you're giving them to be reviewed, because it's got to pass everything. And then a pro tip, which I don't really see a lot of developers do. I don't know why they do this, but they like to send the game review, the build review, right before release, a few days beforehand. But I don't know why. I submitted mine while the game was in the middle of development, and it passed, and I was able to upload my game on time. So, I say upload the game build when there's something to play and it kind of looks like the final product. It doesn't have to be days before release like the other guys on the internet. I don't really know why they do that, but I just submit my reviews early just so they're done and out of the way, and you can also make changes to it later. I got another example for this. I uploaded the build review and the language is only in English, and then after the review passed, I just uploaded more languages, and that way they don't have to check if the translations are right. Because I might have used the internet for translations, but don't tell anybody. But anyway, basically, this goes with the store page as well. When you pass a review, you can change the page to whatever you want. So one of their terms of service was, do not put social media links in your page description. But guess what? If the review passed, they're not gonna care what you do afterwards. So just add your Twitter link or whatever after the review passed, they won't know. This happened a couple of years ago, actually. It was about Helldivers 2, that some other scammers, I think, uploaded a Steam game, passed the review and everything, and then they changed the description to look exactly like the game Helldivers 2, and there were like 3 different listings of them and nobody knew. So that's something to be mindful of. I guess don't be a scammer, but also you can make changes after your both reviews are, approved, for better or worse. But I'd say, we have that trick, use that to your advantage. Maybe don't quote me on that. It's possible you get in trouble, but I haven't gotten in trouble. Yeah, I've only done it twice now. So, yeah, Steamworks. It's quite something, huh? I was supposed to play some videos, but I didn't get around to it. Oh, okay, hold on. I got a video coming up that's gonna be something. All right. So, all right, Steamworks. Now, you got your game on Steam, but here comes the fun part. Marketing. My big marketing plan. I had everything planned out. There's no way this could possibly fail, right? 6-month period before release, March to November 2024. I didn't even say what the game was called. It's called Walrus Run, by the way. I might not have mentioned that. You play as a walrus, and the seal here stole his fish. You have to get it back. It's kind of like that other game I'm ripping off, but Anyway, 6 whole months, that should be enough, right? Look at all this stuff I've set up. YouTube, Twitter, Discord, Twitch, Blue Sky, even a Patreon that I didn't use. Look at all these ways to support me and stuff. Participate in events. I went to an in-person event in Virginia for some reason. It was really fun, but I did that hoping that the game would take off. It didn't, but it was really fun anyway. You should try if you get the opportunity, because it is fun to do. But anyway, Steam Next Fest, that's another important one. I might have forgot to mention, I can talk about that later. And I also personally emailed 50 creators with keys. Now, there is a website called Keymail you can use to automate that process, but I wanted it to be like a surefire hit. So I literally got a list of 50 different emails, all from the YouTubers' channel. They have their emails on their channel. You have to hit a button to see it. So I gathered all those emails, got 50 keys. I think I used a spreadsheet maybe. And I sent them all keys with an email. What is it? 3 responded, 2 actually did something. 1 guy put it in 5 games, like a top 5 video or whatever. And the other guy put in like a magazine that I don't even think was that popular, but hey, they actually did something. So the real goal here was to hope one of these things takes off and gets me millions of, something. What could I get here? Wish list, views, retweets, money, I don't know, literally anything to help me out here. Surely one of these things will work, right? March 9th, 2024 was the day. Was the day that I started the marketing campaign. So here is my mindset. Twitter has a weird phenomenon where an indie game tweet will blow up and launch the developer into success, a phenomenon that still happens to this day. But as you might imagine, it doesn't happen to everybody. And now, I'm gonna show you what the tweet was. Actually, it wasn't anything, it was the video, but it was the launch trailer for the game, and the final metrics are 27 likes, 16 retweets, and 5,000 views, which is kind of a lot, but still, not exactly the millions I was hoping for. And so I've decided to give you all a special treat and show you the first trailer. This is going to be very embarrassing for me, but you know what? For learning's sake, I think it's important that everyone gets the context to know what went wrong, right? So I'm gonna hope YouTube works here. This is my company's epic YouTube channel. This is the next game I'm making, by the way. It's very zoomed in. Anyway, I'm going to the very first video. Here it is, all right? It's gonna be painful, but here we go. So, still in development. That's all I have to say. Very basic editing too. I'm going to say graphic design is my passion. Oh yeah, the soundtrack sounds like that because I'm not a music guy. So it's the only thing I have. There you go. A lot of videos have an end card like this where they have the information and stuff. But there you go. That was the first trailer. And I don't remember it actually being that short. But here we are. So that was my grand revealing of my first game. And it led to a whimper. So that happened. Now, I think there's an important lesson to be had here because I'm not a person that gets depressed. I'm very fortunate. I don't have that issue. I have anxiety issues, but definitely not depression. I've always been an optimistic guy. But this right here, the day this launched at noon and I didn't get millions of likes, I think that was the closest I ever felt to depression. And the reason for that is because my expectations collided with reality and it didn't go well. I didn't take it well. So I think it is very important, and this is what I learned from my next game as well, keep your expectations in check. My account, what was this, like, I think I had 0 followers when I posted this, literally. I had to get my friends to retweet it and everything. I was hoping it would take off, but that's just not really how the internet works. Sometimes the algorithms like you and sometimes they don't, and maybe you can control it, but I don't know how. So, when you launch your game, don't expect it to take off. You might. It probably just don't expect it to happen. Otherwise, you'll be really sad like I did. But I didn't give up. I kept going on, kept making the game, kept marketing, and then the game launched on November 5th, 2024. And what's next? So, not every game is a hit, which is what I just said. But, I really thought I had the next Balatron on my hands. Like, this is it, man. No one else is crazy enough to make a game like this. I'm gonna be stinking rich. I'll never have to work a normal people job ever again. You want to know how many copies my game sold? This is some light spoilers, but it's out of context, don't worry. My game sold less copies than the remaining Viltrumites. 28 copies, like the 28 stab wounds meme, is what I actually sold last time I checked. So not exactly record-breaking numbers, but also don't release your game on election day. Once again, I think I'm quirky and different, but I shot myself in both feet. So don't do that. You're not different. You're not weird. Okay, so it won't work out. Okay, I thought it would work itself out. It wouldn't. Just don't do that. Just release it whenever you want. I guess whatever is best for your schedule. It doesn't have to be on a big holiday. I mean, who releases a game on Christmas Day, right? Like it's not a thing. Just whatever works best for you. I mean, I don't know why I chose that Tuesday, but I did. I think it was a Tuesday. Anyway, so the game came out. It failed. Now what? So, at this point, you're probably not swimming in cash like Scrooge McDuck or anything, so where are you? You could get a game dev job. That's what I tried to do. Didn't work though. I can complain about this later, but if you've ever job searched in recent years, you'll know that it's not easy. It's not exactly fair. So I was hoping, I made a game, surely someone will want me. No. Not how it works. I think I could get to that later as well. Next option, get a normal people job, which is, what most people do. They I'll just work a job while I do this on the side, which, is how most people get their start. And then that third option is content creation. That's not something I want to do, but hey, you want to do it, that's cool. I don't know why I have 900 subscribers. I think those are bots, and I didn't even bot my channel. I don't know what happened there. But point is, what I said at the bottom here. Look, man, we're all adults. We need money. Just get a job, okay? You want to make yourself stable before you pursue game dev, right? Like I said, I lived with my parents. I was chilling. I wasn't going to go broke or go homeless. You might not be in the same boat as I am, so don't be as reckless, all right? You and your money and I guess your normal job are important. You know, like, I know you want to give them up and pursue your dreams. I do too, but we just can't. It's just not how it works, man, you know? You make money first, then make a game, right? Like, most people are gonna do game dev on the side. Just start with that, man. And then maybe see if it takes off from there. You wanna do it solo, or find a game dev job if you're lucky enough, you know? But you wanna just get yourself stable before you do something crazy, okay? That is the big lesson that I got for you guys. Just don't do what I did. What is the next slide? The next project. This is coming out July probably. So what you might do next depends on what happened to you from your first game, right? Maybe it was a success and you want to go bigger. Maybe it was a failure and you want to go smaller. You'll never guess which route I took. So anyway, I'm going smaller, but I do want to make bigger games in the future. But I figured, okay, let's just make this small game while I get my stuff together, because I'm working a job right now. I'm gonna get my stuff sorted out. Maybe I'll try, applying to game dev jobs again. Maybe I won't, but making myself stable right now while I'm releasing something small. And you know, there's gonna be light marketing. If it's a success, cool. If it's not, hey, been there before, you know what I mean? But you wanna boost the portfolio, which I should also probably show. I didn't link that though. And then maybe begin job searching. It's probably gotten worse though, but you know, you won't know until you try it. But that's my plan right now. Scaling back, making a smaller game, just getting more experience, you know what I mean? You don't want to sit around and do nothing. Might as well do something, you know? But what's after that, you might ask? The next project. So, the long-term goal, right? Not exactly the dream game, but the game before that. I have some things planned out, but just be prepared for things not to go as planned. Anyway, next project. So I don't really talk about my normal person job I'm working right now. It's a factory, and they give me mandatory overtime on the weekends sometimes. So I think last month I worked 24 days in a row. It sucks, but no one else will hire me. So ideally, this is what I'm doing, you don't have to do it, but I'm gonna find a job that gives me more free time. Let's say Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, for example, compared to 7 days, well, that'd be 56 hours, which is what I have right now, right? Get yourself some more free time, or at least that's what I'm doing. And then, this is a game that I would want to solo develop, but eventually get a team to expand outwards. I didn't explain what the game was either, but this is going to be a 3D platformer, probably an action 3D platformer similar to Banjo-Kazooie, I'm thinking. But I want to do something like that, and I want to bring a team on. So what I'm going to do is make a foundation, right? You don't want a bad foundation. You want to spend some time making the basics and make things easy for other people to jump in at that certain point, right? And then spend the remainder of that time finishing the game with a team, right? And you don't want to make things too complicated. Like I said about foundation, make everything like easy to understand, nothing too complicated, right? It doesn't need to be finished, it just needs to be, okay, I know what I'm looking at, right? And then have a plan. I'm a big planner. Maybe you don't want to plan as much as I do, but I love planning. So have a plan on what work needs to be done and hand it out accordingly. Maybe you got an animator and a composer and a texture artist and a business guy, a marketing, blah, 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 blah. Like, divvy up what you need, spread it out. Yeah. And all of this is just a guess. Maybe it'll be 1 year or so of that, maybe it'll be 2 or 3, I don't know. But, you know, I'm doing this on my own time while working another job, so no rush really for me. I'm gonna take as long as I need to make the best game possible. Something that like can actually show the kind of game I want to make. There's a Walrus Run. That looked neat, I guess, but not exactly what I want to make. I'm more of a 3D platformer guy, but still, you know, I want to make something that's closer to my dream game to make sure that game is the best that it could possibly be and get that necessary experience as well. So that's why I want to take my time on this. I'm not rushing to get this out next year. I want to take my time, make it the best product possible. This is the last note. I didn't exactly talk about publishers yet. I tried finding a publisher for my other next game, Walrus Fly. It didn't work. I think I sent it to like 50 publishers. Nobody wanted it. I'm like, all right, I'll just solo the PC version and deal with the mobile version later. I did want to port it to consoles at least. But, you know. Anyway, so I think the lesson I learned was, well, actually I already did this too, but don't pitch to publishers until the game is mostly finished, because like it really depends where you are and what you want. If you need funding right now, then yeah, maybe try to find some help, publisher, funder, investor, I think is the word, but still, like I would want a publisher mostly for marketing and porting, localization, stuff like that. So I'd rather wait till the end of development, so that way they have the closest idea to what the final product is gonna be. I think what I'm gonna do is wait for maybe less than a year of major development left, and then polish and do minor development during the marketing phase, which last time that was 6 months. It doesn't have to be, it could be a year or two, you know. Again, if I'm working with a publisher, they can help me with that, but you decide what is your timeline, how do you wanna go about it, you know? Is there another slide? Oh, the conclusion already? Okay, we don't have to end there, no, I might show some videos still, because I forgot to show some. But anyway, we all make mistakes. Now, I've never really been the best with conclusions, so this is going to be more of a key takeaway section of everything I told you here today. You know, write this down. Okay, number one, follow your dreams. It's going to be absolute crap, but that doesn't mean you should give up, right? Look where I am now. I tried making a game in my parents' house still, didn't work out, working a factory job that I tolerate, I guess, but it's not what I want to do. I want to do computer stuff, gaming stuff, but like that job market's just really bad, man. My situation isn't ideal. That's just how it is. You know what I mean? Not everything goes your way. Not every game is Balatro. You know, you just gotta deal with the cards you dealt. Pun not intended, I guess. But you know, doesn't mean you have to give up. Like, you're here for a reason, right? You want to make games. The industry is in a terrible spot right now, but that doesn't mean you should give up, all right? This is what I want to do, and I'm going to go through with it. I just said this, actually. 99.9% chance your first game will not set the world on fire. Be prepared for failure. Your game's going to release, get some reviews, maybe get some attention somewhere, but it's not going to take off. You're not going to the Game Awards. You're not making millions. Just stop, okay? You made a game. Maybe it's good, maybe you think it's bad. I mean, I think mine's pretty good. But still, the game is done, you did it, good job, move on to the next thing. It's gonna fail, but don't worry about it, okay? It's just, you don't get it right the first try. Not everyone does. So just learn from your mistakes, make better products, you know? Just gotta get better at it. Which is, once again, I actually didn't know that was the next point, wow. The only way to get better is to keep doing it, which is actually something I'm struggling with right now, because I'm a generalist, and this industry favors specialists. So people, like recruiters, they want someone that's good at animation, texturing, rigging, level design, programming, marketing. Like, what is your niche? What is the thing you're good at, right? I'm kind of doing everything, which is why people don't want me. They're like, well, why would they have me as an animator when there's this guy over here that did animation for 10 years compared to your, whatever, 2 years? So they'd rather have that guy, right? Because he's done the thing they wanted more. So that's a big pitfall of sole development, is that you'll have to do everything yourself, you'll become a generalist, and it will be harder to find work. So the only way to get better at something is to keep doing it. Let's just say, you know, I'm a generalist, but I want an animation job. Well, I better get to animating if I want a good portfolio, you know. I should show you that later as well. I do have a portfolio, but did not get me a job, so maybe you'll learn something. So you want to get better at something, just keep doing it, just like the last one. If your first game sucked, make another one, and another one after that. Keep doing it until you get good at it, real good at it, all right? Always network, don't be shy like me. Having connections is very important. I mean, what would you rather do? Apply to a job on the internet, or have your dad know a guy, or something like that, you know what I mean? So try to, like maybe, I don't know, I'm not exactly in game developer circles, but like if you're on the internet, you can friend people or follow them or whatever, and then they'll be like, hey, you know, you want to help me with this thing, blah, 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 you know what I mean? I guess I could give an example. Only reason I'm here is because my buddy Sal over there knew a guy named Logan, and Logan happens to be best friends with my brother. Life is weird like that, so that's why it's important to network. to get yourself opportunities, and maybe you'll be more successful than I will that way. All right. I also said this earlier. Make sure you have income, even if it's not from game dev. You know, people release games. You can make a mobile game with MTX and whatever and make money that way, sure. But, you know, most of the time, your main income is not going to be from the games you make, okay? It's going to be from your job. If it's from a game dev job, that's awesome. But if it's not, I mean, shit. Well, make sure you have income, okay? Keeping yourself stable is very important. And then you can take the dip into game development, you know? Oh, yeah, this one. Portfolio and experience is way, way, way better than having only a game dev degree like this guy right here, okay? It helps. Having a degree helps, don't get me wrong, but it's not gonna get you a job. Like, they're not gonna care if you went to school and made some crappy looking games on the computer labs, all right? They want you to have real world experience making games and doing things, right? I mean, I did all this in my house, so does that count as real world experience? I don't know. But I mean, experience, all right? They want to see what you've done in the past and what you're capable of. And then after that point, the recruiters might want to interview you, okay? So make sure, you know, if you are in school right now, that is cool. You know, it's a great opportunity to network as well, but make sure even outside of class, you're doing everything you can to better your skills as an artist, designer, programmer, whatever. You know what I mean? Experience is king. I think I said scope is king, or there's two kings, I guess. And I guess at this point, I'll open it up to questions, but after this, I'll show some videos too, but are there any questions right now?
Yeah, I got some questions.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Like, what's Steamworks exactly?
So we all know what Steam is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Steamworks is the developer side of it. So I think I could actually go to their website and literally show you.
Yeah, it's the platform you interface with Steam to get your game build up, to build your Steam store page.
It's like a developer portal for Steam, right?
Yep.
Like you want your game on Steam, you do it through Steamworks, and this web page does not work. Okay, I'll tell you what, look it up on your phone or something.
You don't need to be a Steamworks developer. I'm a Steamworks developer too, but you don't need to be one to look at all their documentation, see everything.
Oh yeah, no, like
Steam. You can just read it all today and learn what that stuff is.
yeah, Steamworks is just the thing you interface with to get your game onto Steam, right? You don't have to look at all the documentation or be registered or anything. You just need, what was it, a Steam account? Maybe a Steamworks account or something?
You don't even need anything. It's just on the open web.
Oh, there you go.
You can log in, all the documentation is just
Yeah, it's right there. So, you know, that's what Steamworks is, though. You interface with that to get your game onto Steam. Same company and all that, but it is sort of two different things. But they work together, you know. When you download a game off of Steam, it's getting it from Steamworks, you know. So that is what Steamworks is.
It's the developer side of Steam. Okay.
Yeah, it's like the developer side of the Steam network, you know, to get your game on Steam. That is what Steamworks is. It's a very interesting website.
Another question I have is like, what is like exactly a publisher?
So, that is a good question. All right, so generally, a publisher is someone that helps you put the game onto a platform. So, you can solo publish it like I did, but you can have another publisher do that publishing work for you. Very common example is for consoles, right? Getting your game on consoles by yourself is very hard, and I was unsuccessful in doing it. But if you could get a publisher and get an agreement to have them publish your game, they can help you put the game on their
How does
platform.
that look like though? To like get a publisher, to form an agreement with a publisher?
What was the question?
Yeah, how does it look like if I want to have, let's say for an example, EA publish my game? What do I have to do?
I can show you actually. So, if you want to get a publisher, you have to reach out to them. Usually they have an email for that, but I'm glad I saved this because I have a pitch deck right here. So, what is a pitch deck? A pitch deck is usually a PowerPoint that pitches the game to a publisher. You're literally showing them, hey, here's the game. I'll go into slideshow mode actually. Here's the game. Spacebar, I forgot what the clicking button was. Elevator pitch. This is what the game is. This is my new game, by the way. Speaking of Star Fox, it's an endless flying game. You fly through rings. Arcade style game, right? So what you would do, if you want to reach out to a publisher, find their email, and it's usually, again, usually it'd be like maybe EA at publishing or something like, no, publishing at EA.com, for example. Like, they probably have an email for publishing, excuse me, and then in the email, you include details and a link to this, which is, again, a pitch deck, PowerPoint presentation most of the time, but I have seen PDFs before, but you usually want to do PowerPoint. So, this is an elevator pitch for the game, and then the rest of the presentation is about what the game can be, what my plans are, chances of it succeeding, and stuff like that. So this pitch deck I made, I guess technically wasn't successful because I wasn't able to get a publisher. But it would look something like this, where you'd have, make it nice and decorative, have a lot of text, because again, you're not presenting this like I am. You're emailing it to them and they're reading it. So you want to include plenty of detail, including a trailer, which I guess we could play that later. Anyway, and then you talk about, what does this game have to offer? How can the players engage with it? Mechanics, stuff like that. And I guess I included videos and stuff. And then descriptions about who you are and what you want out of the game, right? This is about me. This is about the games I was inspired by, what it could be, low price, online leaderboard, stuff like that. Proposals for any cool ideas you had. No one bought into this, by the way. I thought this was a really cool idea, but they're like, nah, we don't want it. It's BS. Anyway, and then the market analysis, like a lot of presentations have this, but mine was pretty bad. But, there is a market out there, even though it's small, which is probably why people didn't pick up on it. But you want to just tell your publisher, here's what I want, what the game could be, plans, why I think it could work, be successful, stuff like that, right? So I would have all of these plans, a release window. What I have right now, it's still approved, ready to go, by the way. This was back in, I think November this year. So no one ever picked up on it. And then what I need, usually you have a slide telling what you need if you need funding or anything. I fortunately don't need funding, but maybe you guys will, but that's, depends on what you need, right? But my big thing was marketing, because my follower count is very low. And my last game, didn't exactly take off, so I needed some help. So marketing, community management, and then porting to whatever consoles I wanted. I really wanted to do Nintendo Switch and the mobile devices. And then the quality assurance play testing. I'm one guy, and I have friends, but it's not exactly hundreds of people or anything. And then vocalization, because I've never done that before. I have experience in it now. Anyway, no funding required. Yippee, right? And then this is the team. These are the composers. That's me. That's my artist. I made the key art. Contact info at the end. So basically, when you're trying to pitch to a publisher, you would create something like that. Oh man, this took a long time to make too. I think a couple months to put everything together, because I had to make it look nice, grab all the assets and information, remove entire slides and everything. Oh yeah, these slides had GIFs. That's why they wouldn't load. But yeah, that's sort of how you would go about getting a publisher. And it's not fun. If you ever tried to apply to jobs before, it's the exact same thing. I had a spreadsheet of jobs, what the job was, the link, everything. It's not fun, man. It's great. So, all right.
Yeah, they're often going to take a percentage of revenue.
I forgot
Sometimes it'll go until they recoup a certain amount of money, say their initial investment. Sometimes it'll change after that. Sometimes it won't. You really want to get it. You'd actually want to hire a lawyer, look at that contract if you're going to do that.
Yeah, you do.
You don't want to not have a lawyer going into a contract agreement like that. Yeah, you must. It's not optional.
Yeah,
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, some good advice. You are going to end up signing a contract, making a deal with those guys eventually. They're going to take some revenue, but there'll be some legal mumbo jumbo you won't understand.
Yeah.
So.
But you want to understand what you're
doing.
doing.
The first one they send you will take possession and ownership of every piece of IP, and then you'll have to get that stricken.
Yeah, you're literally never going to sign the first contract almost anyone sends you.
Never.
In this context.
So it's what is that through electronically?
You would be negotiating with your lawyer and their lawyers if it gets to that point.
Yeah.
It was basically their interest in your game, we want to proceed, and then the lawyers start talking to each other.
Yeah, but let's just say they give me how would they give me the contract?
You'd get
over email.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'd be like, hey, we're interested. Here's the contract, and then you give it to your lawyer.
Yeah, 99% of your stuff at first can be email, or you're going to go in person to a conference or some other networking thing.
It'll
whether
probably
it be
be
online or
internet,
community.
though, but yeah.
It's about what opportunities given to you, I guess, right? So it's
You want to be very proactive. You want to be looking for the opportunities. If you're waiting for opportunities to come, they're not going to come.
Yeah, no, you don't want to wait.
Unless you have incredibly successful marketing, have a big follower base, really
Yeah.
good proof of concept, a lot of views, a lot of downloads, a lot of plays, you have the game, it's out, etc. That you need to be very proactive about it.
Yep.
Somebody in the
Yeah,
industry can
just
say
to be
your name
realistic.
and other people know who it is,
Yeah.
then you're okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you have to.
Yeah, otherwise you need to treat it like a job search.
Yep,
It's going to
exactly
be just
like
as
that.
intense of a
No, yeah,
obligation
like,
as one.
I mean, I think I made, like, I don't know if I showed it, I had 80 followers. A publisher isn't gonna find me, right? I have to find them. And so that's what I did. I looked at resources and other things people gathered their publisher emails and reached out to them. In most cases, that is what you're gonna do unless you're already a celebrity and I don't know you. But, you know, that is how it's going to go. You're going to find the publishers yourself and reach out to them and hope they answer back, because they usually don't.
That's what I was gonna ask you, is, this pitch deck, how many did you send out? You said you sent out 50?
No, that was for creator keys. This pitch deck, I believe, was also around 40 or 50.
Okay, and when you say it wasn't successful, how many was rejections and how many were just silence?
Most of them were definitely silence. Rejections, I had a spreadsheet. I kept track of it. I don't have it on hand. I'm gonna say out of the 50 that I sent, it was about 10 to 15 that got back to me and said no, they rejected it.
That's not a bad hit rate for actually having somebody look at it.
Did you get any feedback on those rejections? Like, hey,
No, I did not actually.
Yeah.
No, I didn't get any feedback. It is customary, you could email them back and ask for feedback, but I didn't bother doing that. Okay, you should probably do it, but I
I
didn't.
would recommend doing that.
Yeah,
The worst thing they're going to do is not respond or say no.
exactly. Like, it's just shooting.
The best case scenario, you get feedback and you can improve your portfolio or your pitch deck or whatever.
Yeah, because like,
So.
honestly, the worst thing is just
gonna pull that up before I forget.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect that though. Set your expectations low. For
Yeah.
just like a job offer, you're going to send 100 applications, especially in the age of AI. You're going to send 100 or 1,000 applications. You're going to hear back from a fraction of a percent or a percentage of those, and then you're going to have further conversations with another smaller percentage of those. You're playing a numbers game at the end of the
I
game.
guess like was what you said that you have to have a stable income getting into.
Well, it's just general advice, you know.
It's one of the most risky industries.
Yeah, because like,
Yeah.
I can tell you, if someone quitting their job to go into this industry, it would be much more risk-free for me to keep my day job and to continue to just work on it in my spare time. Taking a
Absolutely.
huge risk and literally putting my life savings on it to take 5 to 10 years, so I don't have to worry
Yeah,
about my
and
first
if
couple
you don't
games
make
being
profit off of
successful.
the game, you go under, you know?
Yeah, yes,
So that's why it's a big
I
risk.
have to have 5 to 10 years to get to the point where the games
Yeah.
are making enough money to pay my bills.
Yeah, which is
And
why.
I have money set aside to get to that point.
being full time now.
Well, I had an advantage of I spent 12 years in a career, and I got to a senior position in a career and was blessed with a good income.
Yeah,
and
yeah. For
was a
most
diligent
people,
saver.
you want to
Like-
stay in a normal job and get that income going, and then you could take a risk at going all in on game development. And I mean, even right now, I'm working a factory job. I'm going to release the game. You don't have to quit your job to release a game. Like, you know, you could do all of it in your spare time and just release it on Steam. No one says you ever have to quit, but all we're saying is if you do, make sure you're ready for it and you're ready for the, any possible scenario.
I think the most important thing you said was the skill set. As a solo developer, the thing that you're trading off is you have to be a generalist. You're doing everything business, you're doing everything game development, game design direction, art, music, everything. If you're not, you might have to outsource some of that. That's going to cost money, or you're going to give a percentage of revenue of your product that you're building. Nothing's going to be free in that. So you have to devise a plan that's going to get you through to make, have games that are going to pay your bills. At a certain point, you could, if you wanted to go. I think another thing you said was if you're going to go into like the industry, what they're looking for is a specialist. They're not looking for a generalist.
Yep.
So if you wanted to do solo development, it's a really, really big risk because of this. You're not going to be honing your
Because the
skills in
job
the way that
market
the
is
rest
so-
of the industry might.
I
want you to.
believe I applied to, I think, around 170 game dev jobs back in 2025. Not a single interview. So it's rough out there. It's rough. And mind you, I'm a generalist. You're a specialist, you might be even better, have better chances, but it's still going to be hard. So just, I don't know, if we're talking about job searching, be ready for a lot of rejections. Actually, not even that, ghosting, which means they don't get back to you.
Yeah, don't expect not to get your feelings hurt. I mean that's going to be the norm.
No, well, you will get your feelings hurt, but just be ready for it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
When it comes to like making a game for the first time, how do you get around making like the first novel? Because that's where I'm stuck. I can't.
Yeah, it goes back to one of these slides I had.
I wanted to also ask you, like, did you make that with what game engine?
Oh, this is Unreal Engine. Yeah, there's a lot of things I forgot to mention. Also, my first time doing a presentation like this. But anyway, I wanted to see the full slide here. When it comes to starting from ground zero, decide what the game is going to be first. The bare minimums, the essentials. What is your game? So let's say 2D platformer. Bare minimum, a level, jumping, maybe an attack, right? Start there. Build your game around that. You want to build, let's say, I think I said, yeah, 2D platformer, right? You're gonna start gray boxing, making a level, maybe you'll make an enemy. Oh, let's have a shooting mechanic or rolling or something, right? You wanna like, sort of use your imagination, just think of what game do I want to make, and think of a bunch of ideas and get ready to scrap a lot of things, right? You're gonna have so many ideas, but I still don't know what the game is gonna be though, just give it time and you'll find something, That's really the best advice I can give. Just open up the engine and make something, see what clicks. You might get an idea. I think that's what I did for Walrus One. I'm pretty sure, no, I think I saw YouTube videos first and I was like, oh, let me try recreating that.
Get your minimum gameplay loop, figure out if it's fun or not.
Yeah.
And expect to scrap some ideas before you find something that's fun. Because what you think is fun is not as fun as it might be when you go to play it, or it might be more fun.
Like, it might not work out.
But it's very enlightening doing prototyping.
Yeah, it might not work out, and you might not be able to even do it. I'll give you an example. I had a rolling ability early on where he would turn into a ball like Sonic and roll around, but I have no idea how to do physics, so I scrapped that idea immediately.
Yeah, I like to think of it two ways. You want to think about, can I implement the functionality of it?
Yeah,
and can I do the visuals that I want to achieve? If you can't do both, you're not going to have a successful game. Because the game needs to be visually appealing, or no one's going to buy it, and no one's going to even look at your store page, and it's got to be fun to play. And that's what's going to give you good reviews and going to push the algorithm and get your game successful.
Yeah, but I'm so stuck to the point where I can't even make a UI.
Don't worry about UI. UI sucks. Okay, you got to do the gameplay loop first. UI can come later, right? Mm-hmm. You got to even figure out what the style is even going to be for the UI.
Yeah, grab Unreal Engine, grab a sample of the kind of game you like.
Yeah.
Open up the sample, start putting your own stuff in there, play around with the physics.
Yeah, recreate a simple game.
Literally,
until you find something you
literally
like.
just think of your favorite game and start from there. Oh, I want to make this game. Let's see how we can make it different.
Or even just recreate a simple game.
The essentials in the industry is called MVP, a minimum viable product.
I've heard that before, yeah.
And so that means just the least that you can get done and actually release it.
Yeah,
and then you can polish and add stuff, but you got to keep your scope small.
Yeah, and I would even say when you're prototyping, the MVP shouldn't even don't worry about art. Just get some store box. It's playing with the toy you've made fun. If it is, and that's when you start.
Yeah, gameplay is first, so things like UI that comes later, man.
Well, why I also struggle is keeping myself organized.
That's just something you gotta work on over time, I'll tell you that.
Some people recommend a game design document. I don't use one. I'm more like, I use a Planka board, and just very same. I have the things that need to be in the game for the game to work, the things that are nice to have, and the things that probably aren't gonna happen. And I put every idea into those 3 buckets.
I do a 1 to 5.
Yeah.
I do foundation, essential, important, desired, wish list.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the other context is, what can you do? Narrow it down to what can I actually implement. And that might mean you're making Pong first.
Sure.
Or something very, very simple first, and then you build on that and expand on it. Okay, I made Pong, now maybe I want to do tanks. Now the things are moving, it's not just up and down. Or, okay, now maybe I want to do that with 3D.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the direction.
Think of what if this, what if that. Add some ideas, see what works, and get ready to scrap it.
And you're going to throw out 90% of what you make.
Yep.
Yep, and 90% of the code you make too.
You want to know how I stayed organized? I had a bunch of text files. Like the notepad, the text files, I had like a million different to-do lists. I kept them in one folder.
But they say a lot of stuff you scrap, you can reuse them first.
Yeah, I mean, use version control. So
yeah.
So if you use version control, I don't know how much development experience anyone has here, but version control is basically taking snapshots of everything and you're making small commits. And the ideal in the industry, if you're a software developer, is make the smallest possible commits that work for a logical piece of functionality. And that means if you go and scrap something in the future, you can scrap it and don't have to worry about it. And you go back, a year later and say, oh, I remember I made this one mechanic, it did X, Y, and Z, and you can go and you can search your version control and you can pull out that exact piece of functionality and paste it right into your game. and barely have to do any work unless you've done major refactors.
Also, version control is like a cloud, right?
No,
That's
yeah,
GitHub.
you can host it locally too, but yeah, most of them are going to be on the cloud through
Common
GitHub
one is
or-
GitHub and
yeah.
stuff
So you
like
have to
that.
have it stored on your device.
It's a backup for you. So GitHub works by cloning everything from the repo to your local device. That's why it's so fast. So it's always on your local device if you have version control, but it'll also be stored in the cloud.
Oh, but like just in case if like you did something that you want to like
Yeah.
go back so they can go back to like a whole
Yeah.
Yep, or if you mess a
work-
project
if you
up,
work
you're
for
going a
week
different
and
one
you
to go in
discover-
production.
If you work for a week and you discover that the feature you've been working on broke everything, you can just go back and say, no, go back to this spot, and you go back to that spot, and you're.
Yeah, so I have a lot of software development experience, and we do something called branching. So you'll take like the game at a known good state that you like, and then you might have a couple different ideas for it to go, and you create different branches for them. It makes it really easy to even swap really quickly between those different gameplay ideas or features, and you can directly A/B test or ABC test with your friends. Say, hey, play this game here, swap it over real quick, load in the other branch, play this game now. What did you like better? Was it an improvement in the game? Is it going in the direction you like or not? It's like it's a gardener philosophy to making games. Some are architects where they do like, I want to have a game design document, I want to have it 100% done, I want to know exactly everything that's going to be in the game start to finish. That might even be a pitch deck. It could be part of the pitch deck. And other people do a gardening method where it's you play with some mechanics, find something fun, and iterate on that, and find more fun, and find what the game is, and again, narrow your scope down to what's achievable and realistic.
And don't expect everything
your
to go
timeline.
plan.
Yeah, and
You have everything planned
You wanna
out,
change things.
get ready to make some changes.
yeah, I prototype visuals and mechanics because the mechanic has to be fun, and I have to be able to make it visually appealing too. And if I can't do both of those, I can't be in the game. So
So let me ask you, you said, you're not a lawyer. I noticed that you did do an LLC.
Yeah.
I think, as somebody who is also not a lawyer, but has dealt with it a lot,
Mhm.
you should probably clarify the differences between the one man with no company versus an LLC.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you do an LLC, because it's important.
Yeah, I believe I do have a single member LLC, is the official term, I think.
sole proprietor.
That too, yeah. If there is
Oh, no, a sole proprietor is different.
I'm pretty sure that was different, yeah.
Yeah, no, say sole, so, I can tell you.
Yeah, there's differences you want to read off on it. Have a lawyer.
Dude, it's so complicated, man. I'm telling you, I'm not a business guy.
Okay, but what's the reason you got the LLC?
Well, like I said, instead of being the one man, I wanted to be an LLC because I want my company to grow, I want to have a team and a studio and an office one day. So I just got the LLC and just, went about doing it like that. That's just what I want. And then there's other people that don't want that, just want to be one guy,
So
But the reason you get an LLC
yeah,
is liability.
yes.
You
No,
have
Very
to get an
important.
LLC for liability if you're gonna release a game, release it. Now, sole proprietor is different than an LLC. Sole proprietorship gives you no liability, it's just
I
using
think I
the
remember
name
that
for you.
liability tidbit, yeah.
But what happens is if you do your Banjo-Kazooie knockoff,
Yeah.
and you make $0, but the guys that make Banjo-Kazooie go, you know what, you infringed on it,
Sure.
and sue you for $100,000, then you lose, and the house that you made with your factory job money,
Yeah.
you're gonna lose, because you don't have that liability.
Liability.
With the LLC, they sell the LLC, the worst thing that happens is you run out of money, you close the LLC, your house is still protected.
Yeah, for that to work, you need to be very diligent with your accounting and separate all of your transactions and financial records, because if you mix those two pots, then the IRS can go after both pots. So you need to be very, very sure you are not piercing the corporate veil, as it's said. So it's very, very important. Again, I would recommend consulting with a lawyer. Pay them a couple $100. It'll be the cheapest couple $100 you ever spend in your life.
This is all very important legal stuff that I completely forgot about. But all this stuff is important to keep your stuff separate and protect yourself as well. And talking to an expert is always a good idea because I'm not that expert.
Yeah, even if you're just doing like 1099 contractor work for a game development company, you should have an LLC and do that work through the LLC, not through yourself. This is not legal advice.
Right? No, yeah,
Don't
exactly,
sue
bro. Like, oh.
This is hard.
That's what I do.
Hard-won experience.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I recommend.
Yeah, but what is LLC?
It's just a way to limit your liability. So if I make software and I blow up your computer and you sue me, you can't go over my house. You can't go after my house. You can just go after everything enshrined in that company. my company bank account, revenue from
Maybe
my
an
game, the
office or
intellectual
something
property
like
in the
that,
game, the
too.
office I rent,
Yeah.
etc.
So
You
it's
wouldn't be
like-
able to go after my personal assets.
Yeah,
But-
so it's suing your company, not you
Correct.
personally.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
called a limited liability company. It is all it does.
My brother has an LLC,
Yep.
so
Okay.
I sort of have an idea
Oh,
how it works.
yeah. So,
It's the low effort version of a corporation.
Yeah.
well, there you go.
Yep. So
I've actually
it's
got-
it's really
I've
easy.
got a
It's,
full
honestly.
C corporation, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like $150 and a couple. It's like 2 forms. It's not that hard.
No.
To get what you need to get a game on Steam, it's really
I
easy.
set up an LLC last year and it was like super simple. Like
Yep.
it took us like a week to like get everything set up. And we for context we were planning on publishing like a game on Steam, but it was just like too buggy and we didn't meet like enough like Steam requirements and stuff, so we like let it go.
Mhm.
But it was still a good experience to like know how like just like set up an LLC and like all
Yep.
that.
Yeah, it's super valuable.
Okay. Yeah.
So what makes you, what is, all right, first of all, it's said in the industry
Yeah.
that every game that gets released is a miracle, and you released one. So, I would say you're a successful game developer, just one who hasn't made any money. What do you want to make you successful?
Good question.
Well, yeah, the reason I said unsuccessful at the get-go is because the game didn't sell well. That's the main reason why. Obviously, you release a game on Steam, that is something to celebrate over, it's an achievement, I get that. But, releasing a 2D platformer with weird controls, that's not what I want to do. But I guess your question would be, what games do I want to release in the future? Like,
No, what would make you happy to feel that you are a successful game developer?
I suppose my answer would be, I want to make 3D platformers, and I want them to be very successful. Maybe selling well is nice, but also just be loved by everybody. I want people to play my games and be happy, and if I make money, that's cool too. I guess maybe I see myself as unsuccessful because no one played my game. I guess that'd be the reason why. So, that's not necessarily a mindset you guys should have. That's just how I felt at the time because I was doing this alone. But, I lost my train of thought, but if you make a game and you release it, that's something to be happy about. It's still an achievement, a learning experience. All you can do, move on to the next game and see what happens.
Yeah, making games is really hard.
And I'm
Just,
sure-
I mean, there's no easy way to say it. It's really, really, really hard. It's one of the hardest creative professions you can go into.
Yeah.
There's just so much to it. that you have
Multiple
to do,
disciplines,
especially
too,
as well.
yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
interdisciplinary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Not for everybody. Yes.
I wanted to say, when we originally got in contact, I knew that you knew a lot about solo dev and being a generalist and doing your stuff, but it seems as though like the first, as you would maybe call it a failure, like what's your name?
Craig.
Like Craig said, every game is a miracle, and it seems like from that failure, you gain so much knowledge that everyone in this room is able to like retain something.
Yeah.
And it's really dope.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
I would call that successful too. It was more of a gimmick, really. But I do agree with you guys. It sucks that the first game wasn't a hit, but myself and everyone in this room learned something valuable from it, and that's not worth nothing. So I agree with you. Yeah, it's something to be happy about. Yeah.
Well, and the next game you're making is a lot better because of it, right?
Should
Because
be.
of all the skills and.
Should be. Right. Where is it? Right here. Yeah. Let me show. I have more videos planned. I'm sorry I didn't get to show all of them, but this is the wrong one. What's the newest one? Walrus Fly. Here we go. It's very loud. I'm sorry, but anyway, as you can see, it's a bit of a different genre. But smaller scale, replayable. Not a whole lot going on. Not much to it.
Flying levels in Spyro.
What'd you say, Spyro?
I said 11 flying levels in Spyro, and so
Yeah.
they do something to focus and stuff. It's just
Yeah. I guess the exact inspiration was just any old game where you fly through rings. There's like a bunch of them, but like Star Fox was like one of my favorites. So I was like, yeah, let's just do that flying. Getting the flying right was really hard, by the way. And it's all about just getting points, getting a big multiplier, keeping up a streak. It's not really hard, but more so an endurance test because you can't pick up where you left off. bunch of settings too because I like settings.
Looking at VC.
I'll be honest, I didn't hear you because the music's too
Oh,
loud.
I said VC.
What did you say? VSync?
Yeah, VC.
Very important to have. I'm kidding, but yeah. Every other game has it. I might as well have it.
Yeah, vertical sync is an accessibility thing you would want to add.
Well, there
It
you
just
go.
makes it so
Accessibility.
more people can play your game. Some people have monitors where if their computer's not running at the right frame rate, you might get screen tearing. Having the ability to turn VSync on means the game's going to be forced to run at the FPS that the monitor needs. Having like an FPS limit or an FPS counter can help people set the limit to be what their refresh rate is for their monitor to make sure that there's no tearing.
When you make a game, you make a game at a certain frame rate, right? And when the players play it on their hardware, they might have a different.
No, so most games use something called delta time. So delta time, it basically just tracks the time between the CPU cycles. And so by using the delta variable, it might be called something different in Unreal or whatever, I'm using the delta variable.
Use
So by
delta
using
time
the
in
delta
Unreal.
variable,
Yeah.
you can basically track that time and all your functions are tracked to like a real time. It might be a 60 steps per second physics simulation that everything is tied to, or it might run at a lower steps per second. Like, I know EVE Online runs at 1 step per physics, or 1 physics step per second, for example. So it depends on what your game needs. Like, an FPS will need something
Company
higher.
logo, very
Something else might
important.
need
I'm
something
kidding.
That's something you program your game and you can just, an engine very easily set, okay, limit it to 60, limit it to 144. Turn on VSync is probably a one-line change in the configuration of just hooking up the button that turns it on and off. So it should be pretty easy.
So then when I make my game, I use delta time, right?
Yeah, so basically during game development, you're gonna wanna have easy debug tools where you can change the speed of your engine, like 0.1%, 1%, 100 times faster than it should go, because it's a really good way to test for bugs. If you want to make sure your things are executing in the right order, turning the clock speed way down can make sure you can, if something's going really fast, you can slow it down so you can see everything happen and make sure it's happening as you're expecting it to happen. Or speed it up really fast. Do things break when the physics time goes faster? When you do that, everything should be consistent if you're using delta time right. When you do that and things aren't consistent, you're using delta time wrong. And most engines will make it really easy for you to make that engine speed adjustment.
I want to ask you, how long did it took you to learn, like, how to use, what did you make your game with, like, Godot?
Mine's Godot.
This is Unreal Engine. Both games are
Yeah.
Unreal.
I've spent 2 years, but I'm a software developer, so I've had 12 years of software development experience. So it's not going to be really equivalent unless you have a software development background.
Which I don't.
So
I need that before getting into it, right? Because, like, I'm still, like, I can't really get around, like, starting a project, like, completing a project or, like, even starting one because it's just, like, the scope is too big.
make your scope really, really small.
Yeah, just start
So
small.
I say let your timeline dictate your scope. So if you would be like, I want to make a game and I want to have this game done tomorrow. That's your scope. So how are you going to limit what kind of game you're going to make to fit in that? Again, you might be making Pong as your first game, or Frogger, or something like
Yeah,
an
start small.
arcade game that exists that you're doing 0 iteration on, just to implement it in the engine and get used to working in the engine and doing things in the engine. Once you know how to implement things in the engine, all those building blocks will fall into place. It might be good for you to go on like tutorials on YouTube and go watch a bunch of YouTube tutorials. I haven't watched any because I read the document. I read the documentation front to back and then looked at the example projects and just started working with some ideas. The first project I did, I worked for 8 months and then scrapped it completely because you never make your first project and you never release your first project.
Must have taken, like, days to practice that stuff, right?
Say again?
That must have taken, like, months to practice that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this was over the course of the last 2 years of my life. And it's been most of my free time over the last 2 years to get to the point where I'm at now, where I have a prototype where I want to launch a game on Steam, which is why I'm here. He's already done it twice.
Yeah. Almost twice, but yeah.
Almost twice.
And 2 demos, so 4
But-
times. But I want to add something actually. I did kind of learn Unreal from scratch, and I was using a lot of YouTube tutorials. And so the way I go about searching for what I need is I do everything on my own. But if I come to a point where I don't know what to do, haven't done it before, don't know what I'm doing, then I look up a tutorial for that specific thing. My most recent example was localization, actually. I didn't do that for the last game, but I'm doing it for this game. Never done it before, so I looked it up, localization tutorial, how do I get started? and that video was pretty bad, so I had to go more specific, find something good.
Yeah, you might end up watching 5 or 10 different.
Oh, yeah, for, like, one
mechanics
thing,
if you're
yeah.
trying to do something specific. Like there have been like, especially making the dual grid, there are certain things I got stuck on to get past that barrier, that bug or that issue or whatever. I was watching a bunch of different tutorials and different related things. No. You should.
No, there's nothing.
You should feel.
Everyone
You should
learns
have
different.
no expectations, and you should not feel bad about it. If you get anything on the screen, it's great.
For a long time that like, okay, like I got stuck on this one part. Okay, I'm just gonna watch a quick video on like how to make a first-person shooter camera, right? And that's all I need.
Mhm.
But then it's like I watched the video and I tried to take some in, like stop watching to start working and like go back to my work. It's like it doesn't connect with my work, you know?
Yeah.
It's like I gotta do that over again. And it's just changes my day.
Yeah.
What I was expecting to accomplish.
Yeah, being persistent with it is really important over time. It's difficult, especially because the thing is, even if you like doing it, there are going to be parts of doing it that are going to feel like work, and they're going to be tedious
Dude, there
and
are
monotonous.
so many
and
things
you're not gonna
about
wanna do it.
solo dev that I love and I hate.
Yeah.
Like, I
Like-
think UI was one of them, but there's a few other things.
Yeah,
like, oh my
UI.
God, I hate
You know,
this.
you might have a ton of fun making like the ideas, implementing the mechanics.
Then
for
you
the first time
actually
is
do
great
it,
fun.
and you're like,
But then making once you've got prototypes all good, okay, great, I want to make the game. Making those 10 levels, by that 10th, 8th, 9th level, you're gonna be like, oh man, really wish I was doing something else than making these levels right now. You know, it's gonna feel like work. At some
yeah, that like.
point. So it's just the motivation to keep working at
Every
it.
game you release, you hate the day before you release it.
Yep.
Every game.
You know, that's
You're
true. That's
so
true. No.
tired.
You're gonna just be fixing bugs for the last month or two.
Yeah, and they're gonna have doubt of like, oh, it's about to launch, it's gonna be successful. You know what I mean? Like,
I can
they're
tell
gonna-
you, as a software developer, there are bugs in my career that have taken weeks to
Oh
get
yeah,
by.
no.
So expect to face some headwinds.
Weeks? Is that all?
Also, I want to ask, what's
Thankfully, it's a small team, so it's not
I'm
too
working
long.
with Good Solid Development. They started Pretty Good Solitaire in 1995,
Mhm.
and we're still finding bugs that have been in there since '97, and nobody's discovered.
So,
what engine are you?
me or him?
Oh,
Oh, this guy. Yeah. What engine you want to use?
I was using Unreal.
Unreal. Okay.
No, not really Unity.
Oh. There you go.
Is there a reason why you chose that engine in particular?
Because it's like there's a lot of like tutorials on it, and because it has the marketplace for it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's
I
true.
was thinking like
Yep.
maybe like I could just be like an asset developer where I just sell assets.
Okay, you can do
That's
that.
an option too, depending on if you wanted to go into like more model
I
making.
will say
or
Unreal
programming or-
also has a marketplace. They call it Fab, I think.
Yeah, if you wanted to make like specific gameplay elements, like
Yeah.
hey, I'm really good at making the FPS controller. Or
Yeah,
the
so you
FPS
can do
camera.
that for either engine actually.
Yeah,
It's
and you can
just
do it for
so
any
fun.
engine too.
Yeah.
Even Godot has an asset store.
But
too.
Unity's somewhat more accessible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Unity
I'd say
and
it's
Unreal
more
are definitely
traffic.
gonna have a lot more traffic.
So, are you working in Blueprints or C++?
Yeah, I forgot to mention that this project was done entirely in Blueprint. Reason is, I'm not that kind of programmer. So the reason I didn't like Unity back in college, they made me teach you, sorry, not teach, they made me learn Unity. That was all coding in whatever language that was, and I hated it.
C#.
There you go, C#. I hated it. I'm like, no, I don't like looking at text all day. This is boring.
Is-
And then I look at Blueprint, I'm like, okay, I'm an artist designer guy. This is perfect for me. I actually understand what's going on when I look at Blueprint.
Are
So,
blueprints their scripting language or is it a visual coding interface?
I think that's visual coding, right?
Okay, gotcha.
But it's still like, is it scripting? I don't know if it's different. But.
Can you?
No, it is.
Does it equate to a scripting language?
What's
Can you
that?
write it in a script? Like, can you write code for it to do the same thing if you wanted to, or is it purely a visual?
So- it's-
yeah, absolutely. You can,
It's
what you
in the-
can do is write it in C++, you could write,
Okay, so it's just C++
and
language.
actually define the functions that will be available in
Gotcha.
the Blueprint code.
Gotcha. Okay.
And, whether it's a pure function, whether it's, and that's actually primarily what I'm doing, is because everybody else on my team is primarily Blueprints.
Gotcha.
And I operate the library backend. You know what? Nothing in Unreal provides Blueprints the ability to do
Mhm.
this, whatever it is. For instance,
So you're making custom
getting
bindings for Blueprints.
getting the exact resolution of the screen on which it's running.
Yeah.
There's not a Blueprint accessible function for
I
that.
see.
So I write that in C++. And they've got a whole language where you basically define as, this is a blueprint.
Yeah, they've got their own script.
This is blueprint runnable code.
Yep.
And then you write it just in C++, but you have to, define it right. Or the same thing with variables within the classes. You define it's a blueprint, accessible class, and then you define this is a member that is available, member variable that's available to
Yeah.
blueprint.
I imagine that setup's a lot more industry standard, where you have some team members who are using blueprints, some team members who are tooling for those blueprints, and other team members who are just coding in C++.
I'll be honest, these guys paid me to learn it, so
Yeah.
I actually don't have any industry experience to know whether that's actually the way that most people
Gotcha.
run it. It's the way I run it.
Yeah. Do you know what's more common in the industry?
No. From what I've seen, older people like C++ and newer people, or I guess the younger people rather like Blueprint. It's what I'm gonna guess, but never actually had an industry
That
job,
would
so
be
I
my
wouldn't
guess
know.
too.
But I got another fun fact for you. You can copy and paste C++ code into the Blueprint editor, and it'll show up as blueprints. So I did that a couple times, and it actually worked. Yeah, that worked. Literally,
Look at that, I learned something.
yeah, C++ code. There's a website, I think it's blueprintue.com. You can get a blueprint there, and I think what do you copy? You copy the blueprint page, it copies all of it in C++ code, and you paste it in the editor, and it pastes it as a blueprint, blueprint notes. Let me try to show you, because this is a
I
website.
don't think it's C++ code, I think it's their Bizarro encoding assets.
Not entirely sure. There you go. Paste spin for Unreal is what they call it.
I have to assume they have their own scripting language to work with us, with their engine. Like an equivalent to like GD scripts from Godot.
I haven't used that. So here's an example. All this right here is a basic code, blueprint script. You can copy this somewhere if I can find the copy button. Here we go, code to copy. There you go.
Yeah, but that's not.
Okay, so that's not
C++.
writable. Yeah, that's not
their-
writable.
That's their method of encoding blueprints.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just an encoding. It's not a scripting language. I see.
Would appear so.
So I would tell you that the biggest pain in the butt with doing that is that all Unreal, Unity has a flag where you can save everything as text, which you need to do to be able to use version control.
Yeah.
Unreal Engine doesn't have that. All the assets are binary, so all that text you saw there gets saved in a binary, which means that Git is very.
Yeah.
It's
Every time I learn more about Unreal and Unity, I'm just happier and happier that I went with Godot.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you.
I haven't played with Godot yet.
I cannot recommend it more.
I totally get it. The reason I didn't go to Godot yet, because as far as I know, there isn't a blueprint equivalent yet.
I mean, nodes and GD script and inheritance and that kind of and hierarchy kind of gives it to you, but
Would you say that's an equivalent or like?
it's yeah. I mean, the whole Godot as a whole is basically just a fancy way to. It's everything is a node, which is your basic gameplay elements. Like you might have a node that's like a physics character that you can move around.
So a
One
node,
that's just-
node as an actor.
Yeah, it's like everything is a node. Your scene tree is a node containing other nodes. Your player character is probably a bunch of different nodes working together. You have nodes for like a camera, nodes for like UI elements that are very much like CSS. You have nodes for all your 2D physics, all your 3D physics, your skeleton bones and kinematics and everything like that. So there's like 270 nodes.
Essentially your actors.
Yes.
Or your objects.
So, and then you just build class extensions on top of that, and then the way you use inheritance with your classes and the way you organize your nodes makes everything in the game.
Okay.
So,
Sounds interesting. So
Yeah.
worth looking into maybe. I just did Unreal because, what do you call it? I like the blueprint. I'm used to it now, but it's only a matter of time before Epic shits the bed anyway,
Yeah.
so.
I think if I were looking for a job in the industry, I probably would have been pushed more towards Unreal or Unity.
Yeah, I get it. A lot of studios use it, so that's the
But
other
as
reason.
knowing I wanted to be independent and being an open source.
Yeah,
project
that's,
is like-
another career path. You want to stay independent, that's cool, but
Yeah.
either way it's risky, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's one of the most risky industries.
Oh, yeah, I've learned that the hard way.
I think it's gonna pay off.
Yep.
So I'll just allow for one more question.
One more question, guys. Anyone at all? Anyone?
On one.
You guys,
I'll make a statement for you.
Sure, go ahead.
Your first game sold 28 times as many copies as my first two games
Really?
combined. Not as much as my third, which led to, well, a fourth, fifth, but it led directly to being the lead programmer on a Star Trek product.
Oh,
So,
that's awesome.
you know, it's not that far from, you know.
I'm getting there, right?
You got, I mean, I'm not saying you're me, but.
No, I get it. No.
But I mean, selling 28, I was expecting you to say 0, or 2, you know, to your wife and your mom or something.
That's very likely. Could have been just my friends.
My most recent Android release, I actually knew, I mean, it sold 2 copies, and I knew both of them because they were friends of mine, you know.
Yeah, no, that's just how it is, yeah, so.
I mean, 28 copies for a game that has a bongos, the DK bongos as a controller, I think is great.
Yeah.
I get it. If you look at it that way, maybe it is an impressive number, but like I said, wasn't my expectations at the time, so.
Is the flying game also with the DK combo?
Hell no, that's an analog stick. Analog stick and a WASD or arrow keys, you wanna do that too, but that's more normal controls. So I'm never doing that again, by the way. No more weird controls stuff. I did that once, it was fun. Nope, moving on.
Well, how did you actually have the controls?
Oh, we were, can I borrow the microphone?
It's a fake microphone, but sure.
Thank you, Eric, for showing up. You did great.
Thank you.
Everyone got something out of this. What I wanted to do before we wrapped up for the day is, can we please take a group photo? I'm thinking like around like the projector.
That'd be sick.
So everyone can kind of stand up, come to the front of the room so we can take this picture. Actually, we have this right here.
Could use my camera, sure. I'll end the recording. Hi, YouTube.